All right, welcome back to the deep dive, everybody. You ready to get festive?
Always. Especially if it involves some depth thinking.
Well, you came to the right place. Today we're diving into a collection of Christmas stories, but we're not talking about those typical sugar plum sweet tales.
Oh no, these are far more intriguing than that.
We're talking about the children's book of Christmas stories, and let me tell you, there's more to these stories than meets the eye.
Absolutely. We've got dancing mice with big dreams, a costumer who throws society into chaos, hidden treasures, and even a glimpse into the very first New England Christmas.
It's all in here. So buckle up, ready to get started.
Let's dive in.
All right, first up, we have a Christmas tree. Now, this isn't just your average heartwarming tale of a tree finding its perfect home.
Right, it's about a young fir tree who's, well, a little ambitious.
Yeah.
Not content with just standing around in the woods.
Sounds kind of familiar, huh? Always wanting something more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the story cleverly plays on this desire. The tree hears a tale about Clumpy Dumpy, this character, who, despite taking a tumble down the stairs, ends up marrying a princess.
Oh, I remember that one.
And the tree, being a bit naive, thinks, hey, maybe that could be me.
You're kidding me. It's like comparing itself to like a fairy tale character.
It's almost like the author's using this childish hope to poke fun at, well, societal values.
Okay, I'm seeing where you're going with this. It's not just about a tree wanting more, is it?
Not at all. It's a clever way to critique how we judge worth based on, superficial things, how we fall for those charming narratives, even when they're totally unrealistic.
It's like those influencers who make everything look perfect, and you start thinking, maybe if I just buy that new gadget, I'll be happy too.
Exactly. It's a cautionary tale reminding us to think critically, even during a season filled with feel-good stories.
So don't be a clumpy dumpy hoping for a princess just because you tripped and fell.
More like, don't be the tree, blindly believing in those fairy tale endings. Question the narratives you're given, especially the ones that promise easy success or happiness.
All right, that's some food for thought. Now, let's move on to the Christmas Masquerade. This one's got magic, chaos, and a twist I definitely didn't see coming.
Oh, this one's a favorite of mine. It's about a costumer who shows up with costumes that actually transform children into the characters they're portraying.
Wait, what? So they're not just pretending?
Nope, it's real magic.
Hmm.
And this is where things get interesting. It taps into that desire we all have, especially as kids, to escape into a different identity.
It's that classic fantasy, right? Being someone else, someone more powerful, more glamorous.
Exactly. But then the story takes a dark turn. The kids get so lost in their roles that they refuse to go back to their normal lives. And let me tell you, chaos ensues.
I can imagine. So how does this costumer, fix this mess? He can't just leave everyone transformed.
Well, he makes a rather unusual bargain. He tells the city that if they promise to provide Christmas gifts for all the poor children every year, then and only then will he lift the spell.
So it's like he's using magic to leverage social justice. That's pretty unexpected for a children's story.
It's quite a statement. It flips the script on this idea that Christmas is all about individual enjoyment. This story suggests that true happiness comes from creating a more just world.
A world where everyone has a reason to celebrate. Okay, these stories are definitely packing a punch. Now, onto something a bit more heartwarming, Miss Bennet's Christmas. This one's about Miss Bennet, a woman facing poverty, and her amazingly loyal friend, Hetty.
It's a beautiful testament to true friendship, the kind that endures through thick and thin.
And then there's that twist. They find hidden gold behind a loose fireplace tile. Talk about a Christmas miracle.
But think about it. This unexpected fortune arrives after Hetty demonstrates incredible selflessness.
Are you suggesting it's a reward for her goodness?
It could be interpreted that way. It highlights this idea that true wealth goes beyond money. This gold, it could symbolize the abundance that flows from a life of, integrity and compassion.
So it's not about striking it rich, but about the richness of their bond, their shared strength.
Exactly. And that message is especially potent during a season that often focuses on material things.
Okay, that one definitely tugged at the heartstrings. Now, let's shift gears to Toinette and the Elves. It's about a girl who gets a magical cap of invisibility for Christmas.
Ah, yes. The classic be careful what you wish for scenario. Toinette, with her newfound invisibility, overhears her siblings saying some pretty harsh things about her.
Ouch. That's gotta hurt.
It's a tough lesson, but sometimes we need those reality checks to grow.
So how does she handle it? Does she wallow in misery or does she do something about it?
Toinette chooses to grow. She becomes more mindful of her siblings, trying to be a better sister. It emphasizes the power of self-reflection and how we can change for the better.
That's a good one. Okay, let's switch things up completely. We're going back in time with the first New England Christmas. We're talking about the Pilgrims and their very first Christmas in America.
Now, this one gives us a glimpse into how Christmas has evolved over time. The Pilgrims, with their strict beliefs, didn't celebrate Christmas the way we do today.
Wait, so no feasting, no carols, no presents?
Their focus was on work and prayer. And the story contrasts the Pilgrim children's curiosity about Christmas with the adults' strict adherence to their beliefs.
It shows how different generations can clash over traditions, right?
Absolutely. The children represent the potential for change, for adapting traditions to new times.
So it's not just a history lesson, it's a commentary on how traditions are always changing and evolving.
Precisely. It encourages us to view traditions not as static, but as something dynamic, something that's constantly being shaped and reshaped.
I like it. Okay, we've explored ambition, social justice, self-reflection. What other themes are hidden in these Christmas tales?
Well, there are several stories that emphasize something very central to the spirit of Christmas: generosity and kindness, especially during times of hardship. And these aren't just feel-good moments. They offer some deep insights into human nature and the connections between us.
Okay, I'm ready for a dose of holiday spirit. Let's hear about these tales of unexpected generosity.
Sure. Well, we have Christmas in the Alley, where a poor washerwoman, despite her own struggles, goes above and beyond to help other families. She sacrifices her own comfort to make sure others have a little joy during the holidays.
It's easy to be generous when you've got plenty, but true generosity, that's when you give, even when you have very little yourself.
And her kindness doesn't go unnoticed.
Yeah.
The story reminds us that good deeds, well, they have a way of spreading, creating a cycle of generosity.
Okay, so it's not just about one act of giving, but the whole community spirit?
Exactly. And then there's The Bird's Christmas, a heartwarming tale about a bunch of birds who help out this tiny goldfinch who stayed north for the winter. They build him a shelter, share their food.
That's really sweet. It shows that compassion goes beyond just us humans, right?
Yeah, it's a fundamental part of life. And then there's the greatest of these, a story about two young men who anonymously deliver Christmas gifts to a struggling family.
And it's like they're secret Santas. It's a nice reminder that true generosity often happens behind the scenes.
Right, making a difference without needing recognition. And speaking of unexpected blessings, let's move on to the Christmas shoes. This one takes us on a magical journey with a young girl who gets a special pair of shoes and this tiny light that leads her to, well, Santa's workshop.
Okay, that sounds like pure Christmas magic. But I'm guessing there's more to it than just a trip to the North Pole.
It's an adventure, sure, but it's also about the power of imagination and belief.
Like, even though she gets this incredible experience, she still sees the value in everyday things.
Exactly like the part where she chooses to stay home for a nap instead of going back to Santa's workshop. That always stuck with me.
Yeah, it's like saying true happiness isn't about chasing those big, extraordinary experiences. It's about finding those little joys right here, right now.
Now let's lighten things up a bit with a Christmas matinee.
Right.
We've got a group of friends, a streetcar conductor, and 50 cents that goes missing.
I remember this one. It's like a little detective story trying to figure out what happened to that conductor and the money.
Well, it becomes more than just a whodunit. This missing money ends up revealing a lot about human nature. Like one character, Frank Armstrong, he jumps to conclusions about the conductor.
He's quick to judge, probably without knowing all the facts.
Exactly. He represents a certain type of, well, let's say privilege. And then there's Matey, who's determined to find the conductor and return the money, even if it means missing their Christmas concert.
She's the one with a good heart, driven by fairness.
And the conductor himself, Jim Stevens, he's just trying to make ends meet with his sick wife and child.
It's a reminder that we don't always know what others are going through.
So, this story about a missing 50 cents ends up being about social class, empathy, and not judging a book by its cover.
It challenges us to see the bigger picture, right? To be more understanding.
Exactly. Now brace yourself, because The Little Wolf, this one is heartbreaking. It's about a young boy neglected by his aunt, treated cruelly, especially at Christmas.
It's a reminder that for some, Christmas isn't so joyful.
But even in this darkness, there's a glimmer of hope. Little Wolf, despite everything, shows incredible kindness to a homeless child he meets on Christmas Eve.
He gives away his only pair of shoes. Wow, that's true selflessness.
It's like even in the worst situations, compassion can still exist.
Okay, I'm ready for something a little more uplifting. What else have we got?
Let's head to a lumber camp with Christmas on Big Rattle. We've got Archer, a lumberjack, who has this unexpected encounter on Christmas Eve with Sokobi Bear, a Micmac Indian.
I like how these stories take us to all these different
A
places.
setting is key here. Archer is isolated, facing a harsh winter then. Sokobi Bear appears exhausted and hungry.
It's like a test of his hospitality. Will he welcome this stranger?
And even though Archer has very little, he shares everything he's got the next day. Sokobi Bear is gone, but leaves a gift behind for Archer.
It's a way of saying thank you, acknowledging the kindness.
It shows how, even in the most isolated places, we can still connect as humans.
Okay, so Christmas isn't just about decorations and gifts. It's about those moments of connection, sharing kindness. What other stories have we got?
Well, let's talk about the Golden Cobwebs. This one challenges how we see Christmas. It's about a poor family who decorate their tree with, believe it or not, cobwebs.
Cobwebs. For Christmas. Okay, you've got my attention.
It makes you think about what really matters during the holidays. Is it about fancy decorations or something more?
Like, it's critiquing that pressure to have the perfect Christmas, right?
And then there's this magical moment on Christmas morning. The cobwebs transform into shimmering gold.
Wow, so their simple offering becomes something extraordinary.
It reminds us that miracles can happen in unexpected ways, that sometimes it's about finding beauty in the unconventional.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. I'm sensing there's even more to uncover.
All right, ready to dive into some more stories?
Always. Hit me with your best shot. What have we got?
Okay, this next one, Betty's Christmas, takes us to this fancy boarding school where Betty, one of the students, she kind of struggles with, her privileged life and the poverty she sees outside of school.
It's that classic coming-of-age thing, right? Figuring out who you are and where you belong, especially when you see how different life can be for others.
Yeah, Betty starts out caught up in the excitement of Christmas, all the gifts and parties, but then something happens that really changes her perspective.
What happens?
She overhears some girls talking about donating dolls to a mission for kids who don't have much. And it's like a light bulb goes off for her.
She realizes Christmas isn't just about getting stuff for yourself.
And then she meets Hilma, the schoolmaid who has to work on Christmas while everyone else is celebrating.
So she sees the contrast between her life and Hilma's.
And what Betty does next is really powerful. She decides to step in and do Hilma's work for her.
Wow, that's a big statement. It's like she's saying, hey, we're all human. We all deserve a break, even on Christmas.
Exactly. She's putting empathy into action, challenging those social norms.
It's a good reminder that kindness can start anywhere, even in small ways like that.
Okay, ready for another trip back in time?
Always.
This time, we're heading to the court of King James I with the Christmas truants. We meet these two young princes, Henry and Charles, who get caught up in some, royal intrigue during the Christmas season.
Okay, Christmas with a side of mystery. I'm intrigued.
So it all starts with a Christmas wish. Prince Charles, urged on by his brother Henry, uses this lucky raisin to wish for the release of Sir Walter Raleigh, a political prisoner.
Hold on. They're trying to free a prisoner with a Christmas wish. It's pretty bold for a couple of princes.
And it's a risky move, too. It could mess up the whole Christmas celebration, even cause some political trouble. The story uses this situation to explore ideas of loyalty, justice, the whole power dynamic.
It's amazing how these stories can tackle such big ideas in a Christmas setting.
So the big question is, does their wish come true? Is Sir Walter Raleigh released?
Don't leave me hanging.
Well, the story doesn't explicitly say, it leaves it open to interpretation. It's like the real Christmas miracle is their compassion, their willingness to stand up for what they believe in.
Even if it means going against authority.
As right now, for our last story, let's wind down with something heartwarming. Granny's Christmas. It's about a young girl, Gretchen, who's facing Christmas Eve with no presents, no decorations.
It sounds like a story about finding the true meaning of Christmas beyond all the material stuff.
Exactly. Gretchen, despite having very little, she's determined to make Christmas special for her grandmother. She decorates their home with simple things. Evergreen branches, berries, things like that.
It's a reminder that Christmas spirit doesn't come from a store. It's about the love and care we put into it.
And there's this lovely touch where Gretchen believes in Christmas angels.
Yeah.
It adds this layer of magic to this story.
It's like saying, even without all the fancy stuff, faith and imagination can make Christmas special.
Well, we've certainly journeyed through a whole range of emotions with these stories. from laughter to tears, satire to heartwarming moments.
It's amazing how much depth and complexity these Christmas stories have. They've really made me think about the holidays in a new way.
They challenge our assumptions, right? And they
Yeah.
give us these little glimpses into human nature, how we relate to each other, the power of kindness.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from these stories?
I think it's this. The spirit of Christmas isn't limited to a single day or a set of traditions. It's something we can choose to live every day. It's about being generous, being kind, seeing the humanity in everyone.
It's about those small acts of compassion, those moments of connection that make life richer.
Exactly. And with that, we come to the end of our exploration of the Children's Book of Christmas Stories.
If any of these tales have piqued your interest, we encourage you to seek out the book and discover them for yourselves. And don't forget to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more fascinating explorations just like this one. Until next time, keep diving.
You can download the book for free from our website.